Then the bird threw out its wings, sending the witch flying back from the sudden assault. It wasn't enough to kill her, only bruise her ego and make Mephora know who was boss. Having been flung several feet across the wooden floor of her house on Spawn Ranch, Mephora Payne peeled her head up, her black hair falling in her face. "You will obey me." The conviction in her voice was diminishing. The bird seemed to sense it and cawed, a sound so loud that it shook the floor and walls. The call was full of a force that spoke of the bird's power. There was no doubt that the bird could devour Mephora if it so desired. Still, she pushed up to her feet and stared up at the bird. "You don't scare me." The bird, as if playing a game with her, shrank back down to its original size. Then it lifted one foot and stamped down on the wooden floor. The movement, which shouldn't have had any impact, threw Mephora off her feet. She flew back several yards and slammed into the wall at her back. The wood behind her cracked. Her back felt the injury immediately, knocking the air out of her. She slid down to her tailbone and stared across the space at the seemingly unassuming bird on the other side of the room. Still, she wasn't giving up. Coughing on her breath, she shook her head. "You will obey me." "My money is on the bird," a man said, striding into the room, looking down at Diabolos and then at Mephora Payne. She hadn't met the man, but she recognized him because he looked just like his brother who had just died, doing Mephora's bidding. Chapter 2. Main House, Shadow Walker Coven Headquarters, Spawn Ranch, Los Angeles, California, United States. "Carver Magnus," Mephora Payne said, shaking from her failed encounter with the black crow that was innocently pecking at the floor. She looked behind him at the open door he'd come through. "Who let you in here?" He scowled at her, petting the animal in his hand. It was a rat. There was also another one on his shoulder and one crawling between his feet. The Warlock was tall and bald like his brother, but appeared to like rats over lizards. The Magnus brothers didn't belong to a coven, like many who studied witchcraft, but they often ran in the same circles as the Shadow Walkers. "I don't have to be let in here," Magnus stated with authority. "I go where I want." Mephora Payne wasn't afraid of anyone or anything, but she respected the Magnus brothers. They were powerful. That's one reason they never joined a coven. They didn't need the protection that most who were a part of one craved. Affectionately petting the rat in his hand, Carver glanced down at the black crow. "He can't be tamed. Animals like that aren't owned. They belong to themselves." Mephora growled at the Warlock as she straightened. "I need that bird to take down the House of 14, he guessed. She nodded. "You recruited my brother to help you on that quest," he stated, no question in his voice. "That's right." "He's dead." Again, there was no question in his tone. "I didn't do it," she stated adamantly. "Who did?" he asked. "A mortal 7 by the name of Rose Beaufont," she answered, narrowing her eyes at the obnoxious bird pecking at the floor. She'd spelled Diabolos so that he was her prisoner, but that didn't mean that he was cooperating with her. "How do you know it was her? My brother was very powerful and couldn't be taken down by a simple mortal." "She's half magician, and as the name states, a Beaufont," Mephora explained. The Warlock nodded. "I've heard the name." "And I left Wizard in the chamber of the tree with only one person who was awake," she continued, "Rose Beaufont. She's the one who killed your brother." "Well, then I know who I need to kill next," he said, like he had a long list of people to murder, in a certain order. Mephora nodded proudly, thinking that this was going to work out well for her. She liked the idea of Carver Magnus going after her enemy, saving her the trouble of killing Rose Beaufont. "Where can I find this halfling?"